I'm Tanya Smith, and this is Stream Like a Boss TV. We're doing a pop-up live. There's a couple of different reasons why I'm doing this. For one thing, I wanted to be sure to take advantage of the Riverside FM live streaming features. So I just did that for today to ensure that there would be no business disruption for me if I were to choose to use Riverside as one of my streaming platforms. So testing that, but also wanted to explore GoBrunch with you because I know that they have an event coming up that they call a world building tour. I think that's what it's called. And it's so much fun when they do these because you get a chance to see so many different people who are creating their meeting spaces, conference room spaces, you name it. They're creating spaces using GoBrunch, which happens to be a lifetime deal app over on AppSumo right now. But they're using GoBrunch in order really to connect with other people in a unique and different way. There's a meeting platform that we all know and probably have used at some point if you're not using it now. And one of the things that I constantly hear from people is I wish that it was a little bit more versatile. So I love to be able to creatively express who I am and what my business is about through the different environments and spaces that I create, whether that is for one-on-one calls that I might have with clients, or if it's for group meetings, if it's for our co-working days. I want there to be a unique and very warm environment and experience. So even if you look at my set right now, one of the things that was really important to me starting out with live streaming several years back now is that I wanted things to be uniquely mine. I didn't want to look like everybody else's set. And I want the creative ability to make decisions to change when I'm ready. Right. So same thing with meeting spaces. And I think that there are opportunities now because there's so many different new types of platforms out there. Okay, I'm going to check something because I see a couple of folks that are here and watching live. And I am doing two things, as I mentioned earlier, just in case you came after I started. I am testing out Riverside FM and the live streaming capabilities there, but I'll also be talking a little bit about GoBrunch. So I'll talk a little bit about a refresh of how I have used GoBrunch in 2024 differently than when I initially started, because I have a video that's out on my YouTube channel at Stream Like a Boss TV. You'll see that I have a GoBrunch video from, I think, a couple of years back now. So I've been using it pretty frequently, and I still love it to this day. There are some things that I think are quirks, but I found some workarounds, which I'm happy to share with you too. I'm going to do a little refresh of the video that I did a couple of years ago because I've really transformed and changed things. And the question of the day is, can GoBrunch replace your current meeting platform? So let's explore it. I don't know what your answer will be by the end of our time together, but I think you might get some insights because, like I said, I've been using it for a long time. So I do have some ideas on what the quirks are, workarounds, the benefits and advantages. Now, for those of you who don't know what GoBrunch is it is a virtual meeting platform. I'm going to say that that's what it is, but they may call themselves something else. Let me see how they describe themselves, and I'm going to try to share my screen. So we'll pull that up right now. Now, again, because I haven't used Riverside much for purposes of doing streaming, I've only explored a couple of times. I may not get this right, but I'm going to try because my typical go-to is Ecamm Live for all things. But I make it my job and my duty to explore new platforms and to have a handle on those because some of you do not have a Mac. And then there are some of you who just don't want to use something like Ecamm because you may feel a little bit overwhelmed. So I'm going to share my screen if I can do this right. Okay, there we go. All right, I should be up alongside the GoBrunch space. So this is how, and Richard, by the way, Richard Lowenthal is the founder of the GoBrunch app and platform. He's an amazing guy, just a gentleman through and through, and absolutely supportive in so many different ways. He listens to the users of his platform. He answers questions. He does the best that they can to implement new features, but really what they have is it's done a lot for me and for my business, and I do want to talk about that. And you can really see how many different people are using this space if you go to their World Builder Tour, which I know is coming up in September. When you do this World Builder Tour, you'll see what I'm talking about. So first I wanted to do this introduction, then I'm going to do an overview of some of the features. I'm going to show you several of my iterations of rooms so that you can see how I'm using this space and what I've done with it. So let me go back to screen share. What I don't necessarily like in screen share is I can't really change. There's not a lot of flexibility for me to be able to change the way I show up on camera. So I may be hovering over the screen. Hopefully not, but we're just going to make this work. Okay. So build an exclusive space that nobody has. That's accurate. And what you'll find when you go into these virtual spaces in GoBrunch is that they have, it's almost like you setting up your own business headquarters with different virtual rooms. See how they have, for instance, over here, these couches and a table with little circles. You'll see my space in a minute. What I absolutely think is cool about this is that it just gives people a different way to meet with you. It gives them a different type of environment, if you will. Customization and branding. They do give you training. They do provide real-time support. There I am right there. He calls me a YouTuber. I'm a coach primarily. I just happen to be on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn for lives. Let's see, create your community space and GoBrunch. Okay, so there's lots of info there, but I'm going to show you my actual spaces next, okay, and just kind of give you a feel for what this might look like. And yeah, popcorn flow. I feel you on this. Don't use them anymore. It's got limitations, but you can hack it. That's exactly, I totally believe that. I buy into it, and I see you on this one, popcorn flow. So let's just, I want to show you some of the rooms, and then we can talk about advantages and disadvantages, okay? So I've created, this is one of my lobbies. I have several buildings. I'm going to call them buildings. So this is what you're doing. You're kind of like almost pretending that you have true real estate. It just happens to be online. This is how I treat it. I treat it like I'm buying up different properties, and then each of those properties has a different or separate intention or a separate group of people who are going to be meeting in that space. Right now, this one happens to be one of the lobbies to a building that I have. And inside of this building, I have a number of different rooms. This is probably my latest iteration, and I'm still moving some things around and adding things. But what you'll find is that you're able to create these different spaces. So again, just imagine this is building one, and this is for our fall season of Stream Bosses Academy. Because one of the things I like to do is to theme my rooms according to the season so that we can have a little fun with that in our co-working time. When I built this one out, what I had in mind is that I wanted to definitely have a lot of different conference rooms, a webinar room, a game room, a board room. And by the way, I named these just according to how the space, I guess really it's just a fun way to name them. But most of these side rooms, besides the conference rooms and the webinar room, are breakouts. So I'm just going to go into one of the breakout rooms so you can kind of see what this looks like. And then I'll show you, I'll give you an idea of how this works. And I actually have a couple of other videos, by the way, on my channel that will show you actual people in our co-working space. So you can see how this really works. Okay. Now, I haven't built this one out completely, so these circles are still white, but they're totally brandable. So I can customize each of these circles to be the same color as different things in the room. When I come in here, let me show you my circle cam. I'm just going to turn on one of my cams. Let me do my iSpot, if I can make that come on. So you'll see in just a second. Let me make sure that the camera itself is turned on, because I want you to kind of get a feel for what this might look like if you were actually meeting in these rooms. Okay. So notice over here, up here, where you can see my face in a circle. So when people join your rooms, they're able to actually show up in the different circles, and they can be heard, they can be seen, they can use GIF, animated GIFs. There's all kinds of things that they can do in this, but it literally becomes a meeting space where you're using both audio and visual effectively. You can have them turn on the mics, or you can mute all mics if you are choosing to do a webinar or presentation style. Let me show you another room. I think I have one that's been built out that may have some more stuff in it. Let's see. We'll join this one. And so when we have our meetings during the day or during the week, what we'll do is I will have everybody join into a single room, such as this one, right? And yeah, I can present myself there. I'll have them join into a single room. We'll talk about what we're going to be working on for the day or for the 2 hours that we're together. And then we'll split off. And so you can actually expand this if you wanted to show a video. You can expand this if you wanted to just kind of showcase yourself as being at the front of the room, facilitating a course or training or whatever you're doing. But then your folks who are attending will be in these circles. Okay. You can give them access to screen share, but I don't necessarily have a need to do that unless they're in breakout rooms and they're sharing with each other. So when we first meet, we're meeting in one of these type of spaces, and then I'm giving everyone the ability to go and find a breakout room of their choice. So they'll leave, for instance, they'll go here. And now recently, I think within the past year, Richard has added this ability for you to be able to use images to designate each of your rooms. So it makes it so much easier to find where you're trying to go. So if I, for instance, had people that went into the conference room to go and work, they can see the image as a match to the room looks like inside. So I have been able to create these spaces that are just really cool looking spaces that are branded to my brand. So I'm going to show you my Stream Bosses Academy one so you can get a feel for what that one looks like too. This is my second version of Stream Bosses Academy. So we have a house where we met for initial conversation. Then people would break out into different rooms. And so you'll see in here that I can add widgets. This is what I really wanted to show you. So let's go into this library. Because most of these events were people not a part of my GoBrunch. What I want to do is ensure that they have such a great experience that they want to come back. They're like, oh my, I really want to come back and be a part of her paid groups. There's chat, by the way, in case you haven't noticed that there's some room text in this little box over here. So you can have chats, but check this out. So this is a library room. And if I had guests that were kind of hanging out with us doing a webinar or something to that effect, and I send them over to the library, they can go in here and access different tools. So this is a PDF tool that they can go and they can sign up to access, right? So I'm adding not only the ability for us to meet in these spaces, but also for other people who are wanting to get to know my product, service, and programs. I'm choosing to use this as a lead magnet as well. So this is an actual webinar that I'm leading people to. Actually, that's the wrong link, but I'll fix that. It should go to a webinar, our confidence webinar. This one is going to, a page that has a link to my live stream Black Book. So people get access to different types of tools. If you're using widgets and other types of embeddable content, and I'm going to show you what this looks like. So when you go into a room, and I think I see a question. Oh, does it? Okay, Popcorn Flow. Thank you. Let me pop that up. Yeah, I think I've heard that before. It may not just be you. It's probably me too. And it may be simply because the rooms are also drawing on my media, like they're drawing on my video and on my my audio. That's why. So I'll try to keep that in mind in a second and just pause for a little bit when I switch to another room. And part of the problem probably is because in these rooms, I actually have the mics turned on in the older rooms. In my newer rooms that I've been building out, I have the audio muted by default and people can turn it on in certain rooms. So I'll pause. Thank you for that notice. Okay. Let me show you this. I'm going to pause, but I'm going to show you where you can actually embed code and create new and different types of widgets. You can use widgets, by the way, you can create. And if somebody doesn't know what a widget is, let me know in the chat. But you can create materials, accessory items that you can pull into your rooms. And there's two primary places where I go to create mine. One is Canva. The other one is called Fouta, Fouita. Okay, so here's where you're going to embed. When you go into this room, let me just do this. Okay. Wait. There we go. Background and editor is where I'm going. Okay. So when you go into background editor, there are lots of different options for you to be able to actually change these different circles. So notice how this circle right here, it's a very pale pink because I wanted to make some of these transparent almost, just for the beautification of the room itself. And here over here, you can add more circles. Now, for those of you who know anything about GoBrunch, if you're using GoBrunch and you're using these circles in a room, you need to have as many circles as possible based on the capacity you expect to be in the room. So if you only have 3 circles and 5 people show up, 2 people are going to be locked out. So that is something to definitely keep in mind. You can delete circles. If you wanted to reduce the number of circles in here, you could do that. And here's where you actually can change the background, which I'm not going to do because I don't want to mess this room up. The embed code I was talking about is right here. So if you're embedding and you're adding new widgets to be a part of your space, you're going to embed the code in here. So the fact that you're able to do this kind of stuff, I don't know any other meeting platform that allows you to do that. I just don't know. If you know, let me know. But the fact that you can make this really become a lead generator, it can become a webinar platform, it can become a training ground, it can be a co-working space, it can be all these things. That's really kudos to them for creating something like this. You can even share a screen. So you can share a training if you choose to do that. Now, the way that I use it is a little bit different. And I'm going to pause because I'm about to switch screens. I'm going to stop sharing for just a second. Okay. Yes, it is Fouta. Thank you, Popcorn Flow. So what you just popped up, let me put it on stream. Fouita is the widget maker that I use. And the reason for that is because it allows me to create different tools and pop-ups. I even created an AI chatbot. The last time I participated in the world building tour, I created that because I wanted to give people the ability to learn more about my business and services because they were visiting the spaces without me present. Now, if you're wondering, can people just access your spaces willy-nilly with no, boundaries? You can lock your rooms. So you do not have to have password protection, but you can add password protection if you need to. Then that's absolutely available to you for each room individually. You can set it up to where each room has a restriction. But if you want to give people broad access, or if you're like hosting a webinar or something to that effect, what I'll do is I won't give people necessarily just open access. What I will do is I'll create that room for the webinar or for the training or for the co-working that I'm inviting folks to temporarily. And I will do one of two things. I will copy that link with all the numbers behind it, because there'll be numbers unless you've given it a dedicated URL. I will copy that link, and that link becomes the location when people have been confirmed, because they've already registered through my system or through my ConvertKit email. When they get the email confirming that they're attending, in the location, you'll have the room link directing them to the GoBrunch space. And typically, I don't always password protect, but because of some incidents that have happened, I use my judgment depending on the situation, and I may password protect. But just remember, if you do that, you need to make sure you're letting your attendees know what is the password, which means you need to remember it or go change it to something that you do remember. Okay, let me see this. Did you create the AI using Falta? Yes, as a matter of fact, what I did is connected the Falta widget, because there's a widget specifically for OpenAI. I believe it just connects to OpenAI, your ChatGPT. And I connected it to my developer API. Okay, if you know what that is. And Falta lets you do this. It gives you instructions on how to do it. They have a knowledge base. And then when people were attending the event, I had the chatbot just pop up. I also created a pop-up lead magnet, like a box where people had to sign in order for you to, not in order to get into the room, but to get access to a giveaway that I was doing. I'm going to do more of these in the future. I just wanted to make sure that I reached out to do this. Like I mentioned, I wanted to Riverside FM's streaming capabilities, which we're using right now. But secondly, I also wanted to give a shout out to Richard and to the folks at AppSumo, because they're going to be doing something in the coming week and a half where they're going to be showcasing folks. So you definitely should attend if you're needing ideas. Look at AppSumo's event that's coming up, where they're going to showcase Richard and the GoBrunch space, but then also look for, and I think you have to go to the GoBrunch site, but you'll look for the world building tour that they're going to be doing as well. And you'll see some really cool things. Hold on one second. I'm trying to find another room for you really fast that may give you some ideas. Okay, so this, I'm going to switch over. You're welcome. You're welcome to Go Giga. I am going to pause for a second while we switch over to rooms, because I think it was giving me a little bit of delay. Let's do that. So just know I'm about to screen share again. Okay. All right. I paused. So hopefully you didn't lose my audio just now. What I'm showing you right now is my boho version of lounges and other things that I created for my folks for the summer. So this was our summer space for content creators cafe. And let me pop this up for Richard. Yes, he is amazing. And I'm going to tell you all these good things about this space, but I also am going to give you my real transparent thoughts on how to improve, how they can improve the space. And I also will end with sharing some hacks and workarounds. Okay. Because Popcorn Flow said the same thing. We both have workarounds, and we can effectively use this space really to replace Zoom if you choose to do that. I mean, think about what Zoom does. Zoom is a space for you to meet with other people. Excuse me, more than likely you're using it for recording presentations, webinars. You may have conferences, whatever it might be. You're doing transcription. I'm going to show you a workaround for that. And you're recording for posterity of that content. You can do all of that in GoBrunch. So if the question is, can you replace your meeting platform? I think you can. I think it's doable. Okay, so this was another set of rooms that I created. I'm going to show you two things that I did that were kind of cool. Okay, I paused. Hopefully you didn't lose my audio, but just in case. Okay, I'm back. Here's something where I created this room as people were touring the last time with their world building, and I added a video. I added a video right here that allowed people to see more about the Content Creators Cafe. So both my brand as well as Richard's Go Brunch space and how I'm using it. So it gave people a walkthrough, and that was really cool. Kenya, okay, let me pop this question up. Is there a free version of Go Brunch? Let me know if that's what you're asking. If there's a free version of Go Brunch. I don't know if they right now have a Go Brunch free version, but if we can check that in just a second. I'll talk about pricing options for you. Okay. But what I've done is I've actually added a YouTube video in here. And let me show you this one last room. And then I want to talk a little bit about the other things that I mentioned I was going to talk about. Okay. That's exactly right. Flow. I don't know if you can hear me since I'm transitioning. Okay. Here's one last room I'll show you, and then I'm going to talk a little bit more about some other things. So this was another room that I created that's like a meditation room. The reason why I created this as a breakout room for my folks is because they found it to be super useful in times where they just kind of wanted to work on their own, but be in a space where they had some natural sounds. So look, birds singing, sandy beach, rain sound. So I created a natural meditation room with sounds that they can use. And in this room, I specifically turned all mics off. So there's no talking. You can only use the chat. And that way they don't feel interrupted. So I literally do have some members who just go into this room by themselves and do work, like work on their stuff. Okay, let me stop sharing for a second. And I'm going to talk a little bit about a couple of things. So one, there was a question about whether or not, let me turn off Go Brunch. Let me talk a little bit about pros and cons. I gave you pros, and I do think that it can replace Zoom. Yes. There's a couple of cons to it. And one is that, and I'm also going to give you my link in just a second. So give me a second and I'll do this. There's the con in my mind is that their recording feature is not great. It's not excellent. That's me. Now, me being a video person, I want things to be at least 1080. Even doing Riverside right now, I believe they gave me a max of 720 pixels. So I would really love, I want to have a higher resolution. In Go Brunch, I think Richard might have told me that recently they've updated the resolution. I have to test that because I've been using a third-party tool as a workaround. But give me 1 second and I'm going to pull this up. The second thing is when I think about, and I don't really want to call it cons, but I kind of do. When I think about cons, I also want you to know that besides the recording feature not being my favorite, I also think that the registration process that initially I thought they had, it's really not something that you want to use. By that, I mean, if you were using it strictly to create webinars and you had people signing up for webinars and you wanted them to get notifications and alerts at different times and all of that, I don't think that the current system within GoBrunch for that is effective. So I use, again, another space. I already had one anyway, so I use another way. And a simple way, if you don't have a registration type of platform, if you don't have a booking or scheduling tool outside of this, you can certainly just create a simple landing page where people go sign up, connect that to your email marketing service, whatever that might be, MailerLite, ConvertKit, MailChimp, whatever you're using, and just ensure that you have structured it in such a way that when people sign up, when they enter their email and their name, they get that email confirming when the event's going to be and that they're on the list where you're sending reminders a day out, 15 minutes before, an hour before, etc., with the information about the webinar. Okay. So if you need to use this for purposes of webinars and things like that, my suggestion, my advice is going to be to use a third party tool for that. I also use a third party tool for recording. There's one of two that I have. Now, if you have Loom, you can probably do this. I know a lot of people have that. I don't use that. But if you have Loom and you can screen share or record your screen, you can do that. Snagit, which is made by the folks that created Camtasia, for those of you who are aware of that. Snagit will do it. There's also one called Wondershare Demo Creator. So both of those, the last two I mentioned, I have used with GoBrunch. And what happens is when I pull, now let me give you my setup, because I have, yeah, I agree. Yeah. Popcorn flow. Look, you and I are right here. The thing that I have done, I have two monitors. Actually, I have three, but two that I use for purposes of doing anything. Like I have to have two. So one of my monitors is going to have, for instance, the presentations and the slides and all that other stuff. The other one is the one that is my main GoBrunch scene. Okay. So that is where we're all meeting. And when I want to record an event, and this is something I do regularly, multiple times a week, I will choose Snagit. I will record the screen, record the system audio, and it's recording me as well, not just the system and people talking to me, but me as well on the mic. That way I have a high resolution recording. It's done immediately after. And here's the other thing. I was looking for a note taker, because you know how in Zoom, you're able to actually take notes or have automatic transcription done. There is no way to connect AI transcription necessarily through GoBrunch. GoBrunch doesn't have its own native platform to be able to do that. Felix, I'm not sure what you're writing, but hello. Okay. So since they don't have that, and let me get this link for y'all, because I've been saying I was going to pop it up and then I didn't pop it up. There we go. I found it for you. Okay. GoBrunch is on AppSumo. For the person that was asking earlier about cost, it is currently on AppSumo, which is a space where you are able to go and, here, let me pop it in here. It's not even last call. I think it's just GoBrunch. Yeah, try that link if you can and see if that works for you. This is my link, my personal link that I use as an affiliate, specifically through AppSumo, okay? But check that out and see if that works for you, because it's a lifetime deal. Like lifetime, and you're paying maybe under $100 for the initial tier. Now, I maxed it out because I wanted to use rooms like you see me using them for all kinds of different reasons and purposes. But the workaround I gave you as far as recording is that third-party tool. The other workaround for signing people up in registration, use your own, again, third-party tool. But most of us have those anyway. You have an email marketing service, then that could be your tool. All you're doing is you're making sure your GoBrunch room URL, where you want to send people to, is the location, so that people know how to get there. The other thing you might want to do, and I do this, is in that same email, I'm a video person, I'll have an email video confirmation that says, hey, by the way, in case you haven't used our space before, it's called GoBrunch. Here's what's going to happen when you get on the other side and you go to this link. You're going to be asked to enter your name. You can upload an avatar, either an AI image or your own photo, and then enter the room. You may be asked to allow permissions for your camera and your microphone. That's super simple. So if you don't do a video like I do, no problem. Just write the text. Let people know what to expect, because some people may not be familiar and haven't had exposure to GoBrunch. So, right? You want to give people instructions and make it less friction so that they don't just give up and leave. I also give this one tip and tell people, your best bet is to use the Chrome browser. Now, I don't know if that's still the case. It's just I use Chrome all the time, but previously there would be some issues sometimes with Firefox and even with Apple iOS. Safari. I was trying to think of what it was. Safari. So I usually tell people or suggest to people to use the Chrome browser. Okay. Let me double check and see what chats we got. we have any questions. Put the link in the chat. I think I can. Let's try it. Well, let us try it right there and see if that works. Let me know if you got that, Kenyas. Okay. Transcription. I recently came upon this. This is cool. Okay. So I was looking and I was like, oh, I think I want to transcribe. I wanted to use Fathom because Fathom is a pretty cool transcription tool for meetings. And the purpose of it is after you are done, for instance, with your Zoom meeting, with your, like whatever it is you're meeting about. Okay. If you're using Zoom, if you're using some other platform, Teams, Google Meet, those three primarily, you can use Fathom. And what it will do is it will automatically be transcribing as you're talking in the call. And so that way afterwards, you can say, hey, I want you to structure these notes to be, my sales meeting with my team, or structure it to be a one-on-one coaching client, whatever it might be. Okay. You can do the same thing, by the way, with a couple of other tools, but those are primarily meant to be AI note takers. So I love them. And I have found myself to become dependent upon them, but you cannot necessarily do that. Awesome. You can't do that necessarily with GoBrunch because there's no easy way to connect it to one of those AI note takers. But if you have this one, let me see if I can pull it up, because I was totally like, what? I can use this. Now, this is the beauty of you having, if you've purchased any type of lifetime deals that are still surviving. Yes. Yeah. So Kenya's Keepsake, which I love that name. Yeah. The transcription for these meetings is for you to have a couple of different benefits. And I'll tell you, for me, I think there's really three ways I use it. One is because it's an excellent way to then repurpose your content using other tools like Cast Magic. I'm going to actually be doing a webinar with the Cast Magic folks September 12th, the day before my birthday. So in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be doing something with them about repurposing content. But that's the number one reason why you want the transcript from your content, especially if you know how you do a meeting or a keynote or something, and like it's the best thing you've ever done. You said all the right things, you gave all the right tips, and then it's like, okay, so I don't know if I'm going to ever say those things again. Or man, that would have been helpful for me to turn that into 30 social media posts that I can put out there for the next month so that, people have little tidbits of quotes and things that I've talked about. Like I'm creating original content based on what I said in the workshop or the keynote or the class or the webinar, right? So your transcript is great for repurposing. A second reason for me is that it gives me the ability to be able to add that as a bonus feature, right, inside of my Academy dashboard. So I teach something. I have a membership called Stream Bosses Academy where I teach people about live stream marketing. And the folks in there are amazing. And so one of the things that is a benefit for them is that I'm able to provide them with, and I'm going to see if I can just show it to you really quickly, but provide them with transcripts from our calls. So check this out. This is another lifetime deal. And I'm going to come back to the one that is the transcriber that I wanted you to know works. But I'm going to show you inside of I know, right? A birthday treat. It is. It's going to be my treat, my gift to other people and a gift to me. And then my husband's coming home from Asia for a bit. So that's also a birthday gift for me. Yay. Let me show you something that I did recently. Okay. So you can see how these transcripts are used. And I promise I'm not going to stay on here forever, but I got a little bit of time. So I figured, why not do this real fast here? Okay, here we go. So I created a workshop the other day, and you'll be able to see it if you can in a minute. Okay. All right. So this is using another AppSumo deal called Heartbeat. And for those of you who know what Heartbeat is, it's a space where you can create a membership platform for your community. Okay. So inside of my Heartbeat space, I was able to First of all, I recorded the event with my folks, right? So I recorded the meeting or the workshop that was an hour and 15 minutes, 75 minutes long, I think. Then I took the content, so the YouTube video, I unlisted it, of course, so that it's only available to my folks. Now, some of you might use host, and I can get into a whole bunch of other stuff, so I won't. But I pulled the video over, I transcribed it, and then I turned it into other content for them. So here's the full transcript down here. I'm creating a workbook from the transcript that we did. I'm creating other types of assets that I can use for social media, all from this workshop because I know it was really good and feature and content rich. And so this particular workshop or webinar that I created has become additional content that I can use in other places, right? All because of having the transcript. The third and final way that I would say I use a transcript is as a way to really kind of easily go through if I want, and I guess it touches on number one, the repurposing aspect of things. I could use automation for repurposing, but the third way that I use it for repurposing is that I can go through myself and pull out different pieces and create something else. There's probably other ways. I'm just not thinking of them right now. But yes, thank you, Popcorn Flow. Yeah. So GoBrunch and Heartbeat for my community are two essential critical apps. And I paid once for them and have gotten the return on investment over and over and over again. So I promised you I would tell you what the transcription tool is. And I'm pulling it up right now for you, but it's an AI powered assistant, which is also a lifetime deal that I didn't even realize had upgraded this way because I bought this thing like years and years ago. Let me see if I can I'm trying to get it for you really fast here. Y'all, I was like amazed. And I don't think I have an affiliate link for it, but it doesn't matter. I want you to still see it anyway. It's called Krisp AI, KRISP.ai. Here, I'll pop it in here in the chat. Okay. The reason why this one works and the other ones like Fathom don't, I want to talk a little bit about that for a minute. Okay. I didn't mean to copy it in two places. So sorry. Here, I'm going to pull it up right here. Let's see. Krisp AI for those. Here's why this works and the other ones don't. This one works off of, what was it I figured out? So if you go into Fathom, for instance, I'm just going to use that. I kept trying to figure out how can I connect this to GoBrunch? How can I make it work so that it recognizes that I'm talking? That's what it was. And I couldn't figure out a way to link or integrate the two. I just couldn't figure it out. If anybody else figures it out, let me know because I still do like Fathom a lot. But what Krisp does is it connects to your specific microphone, so your sound system. So when you have Krisp uploaded, whether you have a Mac or a Windows computer, what you're doing is you're changing the settings for your audio so that your Krisp account becomes it's the Krisp mic instead of the Shure mic, or in my case, the Rodecaster. It's taken the place of that. So it's the Krisp mic and it's the Krisp speakers. Why that's important is because that means anything that's coming through that sound system gets transcribed, gets captured and transcribed. Now, is it capturing the video? No, but it's doing what I wanted it to do, which is I just wanted the text from the conversation we're having. And literally right after I'm done with that call in GoBrunch, I now have the transcript processing. Within a few minutes, I have it ready to go and I can do all the things that I wanted to do with the transcript. You can't do that with Fathom because it has to integrate. You have to give it permissions to connect with either Microsoft Teams, Zoom, or Google Meet. But with Krisp, because it literally is kind of taking the place of substituting for your audio, your sound system, You're just selecting Krisp as the mic and as the speakers, and boom, you got the transcription going on. So that's my workaround for making sure I have a transcript with my GoBrunch stuff. So yes, am I using a couple of different ways to get around it? I am, but I paid one time for all of the apps I just told you about. And I'm getting a huge return on investment. I'm continuing to be able to generate income and to make money from what I'm doing without having the expenditures. Do y'all see what I'm saying? So I didn't mean this for this to turn into a, hey, let me sell you on LTDs, because there are definitely some horror stories with lifetime deals too, as we've talked about recently in one of my shows. But there are lots of opportunities depending on how you're using these different tools that are out there. Yes, Popcorn Flow. It took me a minute to figure that out. I was on a mission, like, I got to figure this out, because what if I do choose to use GoBrunch more frequently and give up the Zoom subscription? Well, I can. So my answer to the initial question is yes. You can replace your meeting platform with GoBrunch, but you just need to do a few workarounds. And the ones that I share with you may not be the ones you use, but you can find them. And yeah, this has been chose two that didn't sync. I know, man. Monique. Yes, Monique. There have been so many this year. We've been talking about that in my community because it's just been a ride, right? Watch for the signs. You got to look at who are the founders, who are the startup creators and owners. What is their mission? Have they had failed apps before that they reneged on and didn't keep their promise about? Because there's a lot of those that are making a comeback and they do it under a different name. You need to find out their history, where they're from, how long they've been in business. Are they reliable? Read the reviews. You need to make sure you're making smart decisions as best you can to refund before the 60-day money back guarantee period on certain platforms. But there's others that have some fine print that you need to read and make sure you know too. So yeah, that's a whole other that's a whole other stream. In fact, I was on with DJ Strick. If you go to my channel at Stream Like a Boss on YouTube, if you go there, you will find a recent video that I did where I talked about the joys and woes of being an early adopter. And we talked a lot about lifetime deals. It was, so look on my guest, Tanya Smith in the guest seat playlist, which is probably near the bottom. And you'll see that as the first video. And it's pretty funny, but we talk a lot about that LTD stuff. Okay. If I don't have questions, I think I'm good to go on testing. We've been here for a while, y'all. Almost an hour I've been here, which I didn't anticipate, but I love hanging out with you, and I'm glad we got a chance to do so today. The question about, is there a free version? You wanted me to check that. I don't think so, but I'm checking it. Let's look at it now. I'm going to look and see. If you go to GoBrunch.com, and I highly doubt, actually, see, I said I doubt it, but I'm going to show you that they do have one. Here's the thing. So what you could do, Kenya, is, I'm going to pull it up. You could, if you want to just test things out, you could go check out the free version here. You could do that. But what I would do, because there's no definite countdown on when the lifetime deal is over on AppSumo. So if I were you, I might test it out on the free version first, the free plan. There's probably going to be some things that aren't going to look quite like I showed you, because I suspect that it's going to be a more limited plan. Yeah, like you only get one space and one room to check out. But check it out there. And then if you're really like, this could be cool, go use the link that I shared with you and get the lifetime deal. Just pay one time and use it to your heart's content. Another thing I would encourage you to do is to join. Okay. So the first tier has gone up a little bit. Yeah, that's nothing though. And I say that's nothing, but here's what I mean when I say that. Let me clarify and give you the disclaimer. The disclaimer is this. Whenever you budget for a tool like this, what you need to be thinking about is your ROI, your return on investment. So what I think is, okay, if I'm going to spend $80 on this tool for life, I want to make my money back as quickly as I can. So now I'm going to have a workshop or a webinar or something. I'm going in there, I'm fixing it up, I'm using that thing, and I'm charging people, $49, $27, whatever it is, to come and attend this class that I'm doing on that platform. And I've instantly made the money back plus some. And I'm just now from there continuing to generate profit because I'm not having to pay another $79 next month, next month, next month. I paid it once. That is the beauty of doing the lifetime deal. But you do need to think about whenever you're investing in these coaching programs, courses online, Lord knows, oh my God, y'all, dust collecting. I know your goal should be, I'm investing in this so that I can turn around and make that money back plus some. That's just the mindset I have right now. I don't know about you, but I don't like throwing money away. So any type of thing that you're investing in, whether it's a platform or something else, put a plan together to do some execution. Like, don't just buy it and let it sit there on the shelf and collect dust. Go learn how to use it. You can come hang out with us in the academy and I'll share with you ways how to use it. We've done several co-working days where I've talked to people in our group about how to actually use it and how to build out things. I worked with a client not that long ago and built out her rooms for her because she just didn't want to do it for a fee, of course. But yeah, so do that. Yeah, Monique, yeah, that stinks. My community platform sold out who didn't choose to honor the LTD. I'm not sure if I understand that exactly, but let me know if there's something else. Could this replace community circles? Okay, Kenya. So circle.so is a platform as well. But thinking through your question, because I have several memberships on Circles or Circle SO, and I like in some cases how people have set that up. But I think between Heartbeat and GoBrunch, I have pretty much the same options, and mine's looks better and it's easier to navigate and is branded to my taste. Circle, you can't brand it that well. For conversation and texting purposes or just, sending text back and forth, sure. I know they have courses that are available now on Circle, but I think the plan dictates what features are turned on for you. So I know that there's lots of opportunity in Circle, and I'm not going to bash it at all. I will say I don't need it. And I think it probably could, if you had GoBrunch, there are certain things within GoBrunch that you could replace circles with. Now, remember, keep in mind that the registration is not great in GoBrunch, and the things I told you that were not great are still just not great. I think there are opportunities for you to. Oh, let me pop this up, Monique, so that I can address. So the new owner of the LTD did not honor. Yeah. Which else? Well, you may not want to tell me. You can if you want. And if you don't want me to pop it up on screen, I won't. But yeah, that's not cool. That's not cool at all. So the new owner of the LTD did not. That's been happening quite a bit. So definitely, y'all read the fine print. But then there's also this. When you invest in lifetime deals, know that you are investing in the startup. And that doesn't necessarily mean that everyone is ethically operating their business, nor does it mean that they're going to honor grandfathering you into new features and new benefits, even if they said they were going to. Yeah. Okay. I got you, Monique. We do. We have our battle scars from doing. Look, I'm telling you, if you watch the video that I did the other day with Ecamm Live on the stream show with DJ Strick, that's exactly what we talked about. I had some real battle scars. So yeah, it does happen. But look at what you've been able to accomplish. This is one of the reasons why I say you need to use the thing that you bought as quickly as possible so that you know, hey, am I going to get some use out of this to generate the income back that I just spent plus some? Because if that happens, I'm good. If I broke even and did better than breaking even, then I'm great. I'm good. I would prefer to have my lifetime deal because that's what I thought I was getting when I bought it. But sometimes, Tribe. Okay. That's what it was. I remember hearing about them, Monique. I didn't know that they did that. And that stinks. That stinks. And yeah, Kenya, yeah, you can't brand circle. It is so dull. I needed spice too. Like I'm a big supporter of having unique experiences and offering unique experiences and environments to people because I thrive in that. So to be able to just like recreate and invent a whole room based on what I want it to be. Like I have one room that's a jazz room. So it's got jazzy music with these cool, comfy sofas with big pillows and it's just like calm lighting. You can create whatever you want in GoBrunch. And that's the reason why I am a big supporter and a big fan on that. Let me go back. Okay, I see a couple questions that I'm getting ready to answer before we wrap up. David Hunt, we are all over the place, sir, but it's so good to see you. We talked today about, first of all, I was doing a Riverside FM test. I wanted to see how it works. And actually, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. I'm going to do another just video completely on Riverside because I have accepted their offer to become an ambassador, but kind of with a couple of caveats. I wanted to make sure, hey, can I use this fully and be happy with it? I think that there's a lot of potential. So I'll be doing a video solely about Riverside to tell you about some of the behind the scenes stuff that made me want to really go all in and try it. But that was number one. Number two was to talk about GoBrunch and to find out, is GoBrunch something that could replace your current meeting platform? And I would say the answer is yes. Now, let me answer these last two questions and then we will wrap up. Let's see. What platform do you use for streaming again? I'm looking for something other than StreamYard. So here's what I will tell you, Kenya. If you have a Mac computer, I use Ecamm Live. Ecamm Live is my go-to. It's like my favorite. And if you watched any of my channel shows, which again, I think I need to just pop up my channel because I keep saying that. So let me do that. If you've watched any of my shows, here, go here. Let me type it in. Tanya Smith. Let me just do YouTube directly. Let's do that. Go to my channel, and I'm going to pop it in here too, okay, in the chat. And you're going to find how you'll see my Thursday live streams. You'll get a feel for how they look. I can make them look like TV production quality videos because of Ecamm Live. That is the primary tool that I use. And you'll see my links in the description of most of my videos too. Let me put it in here for you. Yes, thank you for reminding me to type it in. I like the fact that I can type it in here. I like that. Okay. That is fun. I also think that, Kenya, this is a good question. You asked this and I missed it. I'm going to come back to it. You asked about repurposing. What am I talking about when I say that? So I will answer that question for you in just a second. GoBrunch is on AppSumo. Let me put that link in here too. I need the rooms, Kenya. I know, right? Yes, all of this, y'all. It's because it's my happy place. Creative expression is a value that I hold high. And so I love, love, love the ability to be able to do that. David, try that link and see if it'll take you to AppSumo for GoBrunch. I think it should. And if not, just go to GoBrunch and type in AppSumo. But they're still there. They're there right now. I don't know if with these next two big events they have in September, if they're going to stay on there, but they're there right now. Okay. Let me answer these last couple of questions. The one about repurposing, I definitely want to get, shows 2 tabs. Monique said, okay, I'm sorry, I'm having to go through these. That's one thing I'm going to suggest to Riverside is that they give us like a way to favorite questions so we can go back quickly and answer those because I don't want to miss. You love the quality. Thank you. Yes, facts. David is correct. And of course he knows because he's also an eCammer. There are actual TV and news programs that use eCam. It is bomb. Churches, you name it, large organizations. It is my favorite. But, if you have a Windows computer, since you asked about replacing StreamYard, if you have Windows, you can't use eCam because it's only for Mac. So the other alternative, I think, could be Riverside. Give me a little bit more testing time. And like I said, I'm going to be doing a video to review Riverside from head to toe. When I do that, definitely watch it and check it out and see if that could be your replacement. But I think it could. And there's a number of different reasons why, especially if you're doing video podcasts that you convert into audio podcasts. I think that could be a thing. So here's my final question that I want to answer. And it speaks to that, what I just said. You asked, what is repurposing? So repurposing has to do with when you create something one time, you can convert it into other forms so it can be consumed in different ways, if that makes sense. This is one of the reasons I love live streaming. When you take the time to do a 1 hour live stream, you have 5, get out of here. When you take the time to do a 1 hour live stream, that sucker can be repurposed into a podcast, an audio podcast, a blog post, multiple blog posts if you choose to, multiple pieces of social media content, a workbook, a downloadable ebook or checklist. Goodness, I can go on and on. But you can take that single 1 hour live stream and turn it into tons of different pieces of content. So that's what I'm going to be talking about on September 12th with the Cast Magic crew. I'm their guest presenter for that day, talking about how to repurpose using AI and specifically how to use Cast Magic to do that. I'm going to break down how to use that to break a webinar or a course or some type of event that you've done and recorded into multiple pieces of content. So we'll be doing that on the 12th. I think it's going to be a live event too. So definitely check them out. You'll have to sign up. I have the sign up link somewhere, but I don't have time to find it right now. Yes. Yes. So on my socials, I'll be sharing out the link for that very soon. I actually need to do it this week while I'm gone. So I'll plug that in. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So if you're an eCammer, there are people who have created courses on how to use it. I suggest if you get eCam, and again, I have a link if you want that, but you'll find it in a lot of my YouTube videos. If you are trying to use it effectively, you need training. So I'm going to tell you 2 things. One, I know a couple of different people that have created amazing courses. 2, my community of stream bosses keeps asking me to teach one for them because they're like, no, we want you to do one. So I am going to be doing that in October with Stream Bosses Academy. So if you end up becoming a member, hey, you get access. But we're going to be teaching how I use eCam, and I'm walking them through a 4-part mini course live so that we can interact and they can ask questions and they can be doing their setup while we're together. We're saying either 3 or 4 parts. We haven't decided yet, but that's in October that I'll be doing one. But I have information I can redirect you to and resources to direct you to on established courses that will help you with eCam. Okay, that's it, y'all. That's what I got. I am, as always, thankful that you came and hung out with me a little bit on a Sunday.